Welcome to another episode of Game Time, presented this week by Newsenda Credit Union. I'm JP Murrieta, and this week we're at Rio Rancho High School, home of the Rams and their boys soccer team, and head coach Coach Shepard. Thanks for being our guest this week.
Thanks for having us.
Describe to me this year's team, this year's group. What do you like about the way they've been playing, and how would you characterize them?
Oh, man, there's a lot of good things to say about this group. I'd say, first and foremost, mental toughness. They got a lot of great character. They're always willing to hustle. They're always willing to take coaching. Mental toughness, great work ethic. We got some good leadership that's been developed. And, you know, I think we have a nice variety of skills and personalities that are starting to really come to the front, and it's making us a well-rounded team.
You mentioned variety. Looking at your roster, I think you got about 8 seniors, but you have a good mix of some sophomores and juniors in there. How do you balance as head coach that experience and youth and how they mesh together?
Well, we like the more experienced guys to take a little bit of a leadership role, but we're certainly not going to deny if one of the younger guys has a great idea or is playing really well, you know, they can kind of step up and take their role as well. And the mix hasn't really been a problem. The age mix has not been a problem. We've worked out pretty well. We've got some relatives, some little brother kind of situations, and we like it, so it's worked out nicely.
Who's been leading you this year? Do you have that senior leadership, or
Yes.
do you have some of those young guys carrying the load?
Well, the young guys absolutely have done their part, but we have a really strong group of seniors this year, a couple of senior captains specifically, and the seniors have done a really good job of setting the example, being vocal leaders, being leaders by their actions as well as their words. They're doing a good job.
A lot of one-goal games for you guys this year. Are they giving you a heart attack?
Well, it's really our schedule. We have, right now we're rated as the toughest schedule in the state. We just don't have any easy opponents because the state, there's so much parity in boys soccer in the state that there's no easy games. And then again, we've definitely been guilty of playing down to the level of a lesser opponent, quote unquote lesser opponent. But we also try to play up to the top opponents. So yeah, we've been in some close games.
La Cueva is nationally ranked this year. You played them. Hobbs is nationally ranked this year. A lot of coaches consider them 2 of the top dogs right now in your classification. How do you beat teams like La Cueva or Hobbs?
Yeah, so you have to have a good day. You have to bring your A game. You have to be having a good day. Hope for them to maybe not have their best day. But I also think that, like I said, with the parity in especially 5A boys soccer, anybody can beat anybody on any given day, and I think that's been proven. I mean, Hobbs is the only one that's undefeated so far, and I haven't seen them yet, so we'll see that when we get to them.
Well, you've beaten plenty of teams this year. You also beat plenty of teams back in 2020. Looking at the championship banner when you guys won state, you were the head coach. What do you remember about that championship run?
Well, I'm sure everybody remembers that time because that was COVID time.
Right.
And I always tell people, yeah, we picked the hardest season to win the state championship because, you know, we weren't even allowed to practice. I'll never forget our first practice where we were allowed to have more than 4 people at a time practicing was the day before our first game. So that was the most ridiculous season. Everybody was in masks. We had to practice in groups of 4 right up until the first game. So I considered that a real show of like perseverance and mental toughness from the young men that year.
You won the state championship on a grass field. Last year it was played on turf. We played on grass and on turf. As a head coach, what do you prefer playing your games on grass or on artificial surface?
Well, I'm a traditionalist. I definitely prefer grass, but I want good grass. If the grass is bad, I prefer turf. So the better the surface, obviously the better. We have some nice grass here at Rio Rancho. We're really lucky, so I prefer that, of course. But the turf nowadays, the technology is so good. There's a lot of good turf fields, perfectly acceptable.
And as a head coach, what are you working on with this team in these coming weeks as we approach the postseason?
Actually, today we're continuing a week where we're working on attacking patterns and seeing if we can't create more scoring opportunities to eliminate those 1-goal games we keep suffering through. So we're going to try to create more scoring opportunities. That's our focus this week.
All right, guys. So attacking patterns today at practice, all right?
That's right.
Coach, good luck the rest of the
Hey,
season.
thanks
for
for
joining
having
us
us.
this week. We'll be back with more Game Time after this. Are you living the life of an athlete? The New Mexico Activities Association brings you Life of an Athlete, a resource for students, educators, and parents to understand the challenges students face. Athletes, 1 night of drinking will negatively affect your athletic performance for 2 weeks, and athletes who drink or do drugs are twice as likely to get injured. Alcohol's effects can reduce a high school athlete's potential by as much as 20 to 30%. Are you living the life of an athlete? Log on to the website to find out today.
In life, things aren't scripted.
If you're an athlete, we need people like you and translate those skills to officiating.
You can get a lot out of it.
It happens in every town, in every game.
We never have a perfect game, but the rewards always outweigh the negativities.
Hi, I'm X from Rio Rancho High School, and welcome back to Game Time.
In less than 2 weeks, the 6-man and the 8-man football brackets will be announced. The rest of the postseason field will be released on October 28th, so mark the calendar. But before we get to that, let's take a look back at last week's highlights and see who's playing well. Let's start with the Sandia Matadors, who are on a roll. Sandia jumped out to an early lead on El Dorado last week and never let go in their 33-14 victory. Sandia is now 6-1 on the season. They host Farmington this week. The Farmington Scorpions took it to West Mesa last week, 49-7. Alex Serrano had a punt return for a touchdown to go along with his 2 interceptions. Farmington is now 5-2 on the year. Volcano Vista running back Elijah Gonzalez rushed for 3 scores in their 60-14 win over Cibola. He also returned a kickoff for another touchdown. The Hawks are now 6-2 with a bye this week. The Rio Rancho defense recorded 6 sacks against Atrisco Heritage. The Rams opened district play with a 37-14 win. They are now 5-2 on the year with a game against Cibola this week. Los Lunas improved to 6-2 with a shutout win over Albuquerque High, 54-0. The 6-2 Tigers have won their last 3 games by a count of 172-14. Valencia snapped a 2-game losing streak with a 52-0 win over Rio Grande. Valencia is 4-3 on the year and will host St. Pius this week. Jet Stone of Clovis had quite the night against Santa Fe. Stone accounted for 8 scores. He rushed for almost 300 yards and 6 touchdowns. He also threw a touchdown and caught one in their 62-42 win over the Demons. Clovis has won back-to-back games. Centennial hosted Hobbs last week. The Hawks scored on their opening drive and never looked back in their 28-7 win. Centennial gets Carlsbad next. In a rematch of last year's state championship game, Bloomfield beat Silver 28-0. It's the 13th straight win for the Bobcats dating back to last season. Drew Perez with 3 touchdown receptions in this one. The unbeaten Bobcats start district play this week against Kirtland Central.
Hi, my name's Hayden Smith. I'm a senior at Rio Rancho High School. You should check out the new football polls.
Hi, I'm Caden Jones. I'm a senior at Rio Rancho High School, and we'll be back with Game Time after this.
Do you love sports? Do you want a front row seat for exciting high school sports action in New Mexico? If the answer is yes to either of those questions, then becoming an interscholastic sports official may be right for you. The New Mexico Officials Association is looking for individuals age 15 years or older to serve as officials in 10 different sports. No experience is necessary and training is provided. If you're interested, call 505-923-3110. That's 505-923-3110, or go to the website nmact.org and click on the Officials tab. Welcome back to Game Time from Rio Rancho High School. St. Michael's Jr. Rayleigh Hunt built up a reputation as one of the top distance runners in the state, but she's not running cross country this year. And as a matter of fact, she just recently committed to compete in college in an entirely different sport. Rayleigh Hunt has been the first one to cross the finish line at the state cross country meet each of the last 2 years, but she's not running this season.
Before state track, I was having shin issues, and I realized at the end of track I had a stress fracture, so I wasn't able to run for 2 months or walk. And so I was just swimming during that time. And that's when I kind of realized, I was like, I think that swimming long term is a better option. And I started to love it a little bit more. I chose not to run cross country this year because I wasn't cleared to run until August, I think 30th. So by that time, I was so behind in training, and I knew that I was also going to be going on visits for swimming. So I knew that trying to bring my mileage back up and just like not re-injure myself, and focusing on like visits and like college stuff would be a lot to like handle and process. So I knew that like in order for me to be able to do well in one thing, which I chose swimming, I would probably have to focus on that.
Rayleigh is putting her focus this fall and winter in the water. She announced last month she is going to join the swimming and diving program at Duke University.
It's funny, a year ago I went to a cross country camp at Duke, and I was like, oh, like Duke is my dream school to run at. Like I want to run in college at Duke. And then like as like the recruiting process started happening and I chose to swim in college, Duke like reached out to me and I was so happy. And then I absolutely loved every single coach that I talked to. And when I went on the visit, it just like sealed the deal. I was pretty much sure that if they offered me a spot on the visit that I would say yes, but I absolutely fell in love with everything.
Rayleigh won the 100-yard breaststroke event at the State Swimming and Diving Championships last February and loves the family atmosphere around the pool. What is it that you love about swimming?
Honestly, my absolute favorite thing is my coaches and teammates. Every single day, like they're actually like my second family. My coach is the most supportive and like encouraging person ever. And same with my teammates. I absolutely love them. They're like my sisters and brothers, like they're the best.
As for running, Rayleigh is a two-time state champion in the 800-meter and 1,600-meter races and was a part of last year's 800-meter and medley relay teams. She plans to defend her titles on the track in the spring. But to be clear, her workouts are in the water for now. What have you been working on, and what can we expect to see from you in February?
A lot of breaststroke. I cut quite a bit of time off my breaststroke events this summer, and so I'm kind of like widening out, and I want to start doing like 2 IM and that sort of stuff. So I'm definitely going to be doing more IM this year in high school season, as well as my goal is to get the state record for the 100 breast.
She set the 3A state record in the 800-meter run last spring. Maybe she'll add another record to her resume in the pool this winter. Although she's not running cross country this year, the state cross country championships will take place on November 11th. Albuquerque Academy is hosting a cross country extravaganza on the 21st of this month. That's going to do it for another episode of Game Time, presented this week by Nusenda Credit Union. Make sure you tune in every week. You never know where we're going to show up or who we're going to talk to, but the place to find the most high school highlights is right here. We'll see you next time on Game Time.